Chapter 3rd of Samadhi Pada. So, we started our journey by understanding what exactly we do in meditation, why and how. So, the subject or the seeker should be extremely clear that what kind of a seeker he has. So, in the future, we will talk about sankalpa, normally translated as intention. So, that intention is nothing but a thought pattern, leads to desire for freedom. But everywhere we talk about freedom from the desire. So, here the master says this is an unbinding desire for freedom. Any binding desire causes the suffering, followed by what we say action, the karma, or the sadhana. So the seeker is extremely clear about it. And the instrument by which we seek that samadhi or the highest state of meditation is Eastern wisdom, its principles. And what is the object? The object is simple. Object is my true nature. It is the pure consciousness. That is what we are seeking. And the result is awakening, realization, and transformation. So, Anubandha Chatushtaya or four connections is related to this knowledge of Eastern wisdom. Sadhan Chatushtaya is related to the seeker. First is the right knowledge. That is what I explained. You go to a physics class and there they write E is equal to mc square. So one student translates in terms of alphabets. He understands in terms of the alphabets. The answer is wrong. The reference and the context is physics. So energy, E means energy. M means mass, C is the velocity. So that is why E is equal to mc square. So the context is different. Here, the knowledge is about my true nature. Knowledge is about Satchidanand. Knowledge is about one common element. So the mind should not deviate and distract from this knowledge. And the Eastern wisdom provides that knowledge in Anubandha Chatushtaya. So, like when we study physics, it is a unique subject. The context is different. Same way, the Eastern wisdom, the knowledge, or the subject matter is totally different and unique. Then we should have a right knowledge about the target audience. Who is the target audience? That is a seeker. Who is a seeker? So, In Amrit Bindu Upanishad, Amritnad Upanishad, if I am not mistaken, it says yoga has 6 limbs. And one of the most important limb is tarka. Tarka means reasoning. Reasoning means pertains to the intellect. Can we comprehend and separate real from the unreal? So the seeker must have a reasoning mind, not a blind believer. Seeker also must have an absorbing intellect. Means what? Capable of intense listening. Multitasking is not allowed. If you are doing multitasking, the mind is already divided. So, absorbing intellect also means participative listening, contemplative listening. So you have hundreds of questions pops up in the mind every time you listen to it, and through the reflection you find the answer. If you don't find the answer, then the Eastern wisdom is already there. Another part of a seeker, that why we are talking about it. It represents Ath Yoga Anushasanam, the first word, Ath, that now Patanjali says I'm starting the journey of yoga for a qualified seeker. So I'm simplifying. So the person, the seeker, is deeply interested in this knowledge of the subject, should be interested only in the subject matter. So he is a target audience. In the first chapter, as explained by what is the target audience, what the target audience does, he has a desire for freedom or discovery of the true nature. It means he has an intense desire or intense aspiration for it. So, what is the result? So, many masters says that the results are twofold. Direct benefit. Direct benefit is awakening. Indirect benefit, that you become clear about this world of object, of the people. How do you have to transact in this world in day-to-day life? How come? Awakening is light. A light likens the light, the sunlight. So not only that sunlight awakens, but that sunlight also makes clear of the objects around me. So that is what we see, the indirect benefit. Direct benefit, awakening and end of suffering. That is what Patanjali explains in the fourth sutra of the first chapter. Rati sarupyam etaratraha. We will understand that. So that is our result. So we have understood clearly what exactly is Anubandha Chatushtaya. It pertains to the knowledge, a brief and understanding how to treat the path. Sadhan Chatushtaya makes one a seeker, a qualified seeker. So we have the understanding, we have the knowledge, we follow the path of uh, Sadhan Chatushtaya. What is Sadhan Chatushtaya? Briefly, we say Viveka. So somebody, I was giving a lesson yesterday in the morning. And that guy said, "Oh, Viveka means intelligence. Viveka means." I said, "No. Viveka literally means separating real from the unreal." How do you get the definition of what is real and unreal? Again, go to the subject. Eastern wisdom explains briefly. So that is very important. Can Viveka happen, takes place just easily? No, it takes time. My master used to say that every day for 3 months you follow sadhan chatushtaya. Every day. 1 hour daily and 23 hours, as long as you are in a waking state. Remember, recall, live into it. Then only we achieve a success in the sadhan chatushtaya. A very important point we should understand by an example. Viveka, clay and the pot. Pot is there? Yes. So I label it as a pot, ceramic pot, yes. Or clay pot, yes. Am I sure? Yes. Can you show me where is the pot? You look inside, you look outside, you look upside down, you see only the clay. Pot is not there. So we have many parts in our relationship. We have many parts in our daily transaction in the world, and that very part appears, but there is no part. There is only a clay. Only the wave appears, but there is no wave in the water. It is only the water. Can I hold on to this truth that the different bodies are nothing but the waves? The essence is my true nature. So, one example why my master says that one has to hold on to this viveka every day for 3 months. 1 hour we do our practices, but after that, during the waking hours, I hold on to this truth regularly, days after days. Then only I can attain some success in sadhan chatushtaya. That is what is. Here are some results from a search. That is what is known as viveka. Viveka. So the same thing with the vairagya and then inner treasures that we will talk in between with reference to the four sutras. So the last time we understood that Vyasa, the great commentator, explains what Patanjali meant by Atha Yoga Anushasanam. Yoga Samadhi. Yoga is the highest state of mindfulness. Atha. Now, teaching begins to a qualified seeker. So, qualified seeker has a background information about sadhan chatushtaya and understanding about what is real and unreal. So, he immediately picks up when Patanjali says Yoga Samadhi. Why? Meditation reveals the knowledge of reality, and the reality is my true nature. Yes, that makes a sense. It doesn't make a sense to a non qualified seeker. It will not make a sense. They will resent, they will react, they will resist, they will continue with a popular notion. Anushashanam. Anu means to follow, and Sashan means discipline and education. So, Anu means that Patanjali says that wisdom has been passed on to me from the tradition, from many masters before me. It means I am not an originator of yoga. I am simply a codifier of yoga. I compressed it, converted into a sutras. Why I converted into a sutras? Based on my understanding, Patanjali says, based on my understanding of what is yoga, I structured, reorganized the principles according to my understanding, classified into four chapters, and I am presenting. That is the meaning. Ath Yoga Anushasana. So it means there are many great masters who had written secondary text. Why? To make seekers clear, structured, organized, step by step to understand the journey of the self discovery. We have many such texts, many such sutras. Now, coming to the page number, I think, roots of the words yoga and samadhi. So, Sanskrit root, as I say, that the Sanskrit word has a multiple meaning. So, we are now covering roots of words yoga and samadhi. So, the root of yoga, or the word yoga, is derived from the root yuj, yujir, yujai. What is the meaning? Union, samadhi, sanyam. There are three meanings. And now comes the one more beautiful meaning. If we hold on to this truth and we help the mind to reach to that state at every moment in our life, that is known as choiceless awareness by J. Krishnamurti. So, how do we explain samadhi now? Samadhi, the highest state of meditation. Normal, very good. Normal meaning. So, one master says, when mind holds naturally abundance of quality with quantity, one experiences the state of samadhi 24 by 7. So, what is that abundance of quality? What it means that I must know the natural state of the mind. What is the natural state of the mind? It is satoguna. What satoguna represents? Satoguna represents knowledge, happiness, cheerfulness. Knowledge of what? You see that? So we'll also understand later that what exactly, how the satoguna and the mind are related. So abundance of quality in the mind is satoguna. It means what? If the mind thinks, speaks, lives, and works in equanimity, according to Krishna in the Gita. So he is referring Samatvam Yoguchyati. Equanimity is yoga. So here we are understanding the meaning of both the words, the equanimity and abundance of quality. there must be an abundance of quantity also. Quantity with reference to the knowledge of the transactional world, how that true nature expresses itself at any given moment in daily life and its activities. Going little deeper, samadhi. So the samadhi has three roots. Sam, like sama, shanti, perfect shanti. 100% mind is 100% available to me. That is also the meaning of shanti. Shanti simply means, doesn't mean that I'm relaxed. So I can relax by drugs also. Is that samadhi? No. We are talking of abundance of quality. So here the first root is sam. Sam means equanimity, samatha. Mind is 100% available. And then comes the root a. A means quantity, and dha means, so sam here means samyak, abundance in quality. The root a means quantity, and dha means holding on. The mind is naturally holding on abundance of quality and quantity. Holding on naturally. What is that state? It is a state of choiceless awareness. It is the highest state of meditation. It is an awakened state. What is the goal of the samadhi, the highest meditation? To reveal the knowledge of reality. And that is how it reveals the knowledge of reality. So, the first four sutras of Patanjali, Atha Yoga Anushashanam. Let us now translate into a workable definition. I am a qualified seeker listening to the teacher who starts the journey of yoga from A to G, where the G is the highest state of mindfulness or meditation, which commentator Vyasa explains Yoga Samadhi. Finished. So then he explains the second sutra, empty the mind of its content leads me to the fifth subjective state of mind, that is niruddha, the emptiness, the nothingness. That reveals my true nature, which is in the third sutra, tada drashtuhu swarupe avasthanam. So when I don't live in that state, the mind continues to remain distracted or live in ignorance. So, what other understanding we can derive from these four sutras? A qualified seeker succeeds in mindfulness or meditation. Qualified seeker. So, first, my mind goes back to the Anubandha Chatushtaya to redefine in my life Ath, and then it comes to, oh, the Sadhan Chatushtaya is all about becoming a right seeker. Yes, Viveka, the discernment, Vairagya, the dispassion. Then we have six inner treasures, Samdam, Uparati, Titiksha, Shraddha, Samadhanam, plus Mumuksha. Mumuksha means an intense desire for liberation, but this is an unbinding desire. So, when the desire binds me during my day to day activities, it is better to examine, reformat the mind and start finding out how to live with a desire, no problem, but unbinding desire. What is the most important point here? Is that any meditation succeeds in the conditions of nine attributes, which is sadhan chatushtaya. Six inner treasure, vivek, seventh, vairagya, eighth, and the mumukshu, ninth. These are the conditions. If I fulfill these conditions, I always succeed in meditation. I don't fulfill any of such conditions, I don't succeed in meditation. See that? So we have to look sadhan chatushtaya in the light of conditions. Then we have covered the first chapter of Patanjali is for the seekers. We can give some examples. Buddha spent more than 12 years. He went to a Hatha Yoga master. So Hatha Yoga says that you stand upside down for hours together. The liberation is within your reach. Then another master said you have to sleep on the ground without any cushion. You have to tolerate that pain. You have to take a fast. So, is it necessary? Maybe for those who are living completely in ignorance, who do not want to understand the real journey of yoga, and at a face value, they want to live in penance. Nothing is achieved. It is only after 12 years of understanding, doing all those practicing, but Buddha was contemplating. So knowledge awakened within him when he was sitting under a tree after doing all the penance, all the austerities as dictated by his Hatha Yoga master. And the knowledge revealed, come on, I'm in peace without doing all these hard practices. And that peace is in my mind. So, is the peace more important, samas, the one first treasure, is the sama more important in my meditation journey or these practices that puts my life into a danger? He was thinking, he was just sitting casually contemplating and reflecting where he was moving. He was moving towards Anubandha Chatushtaya. And then he joined all his five friends. A beautiful girl came with sweets, offered to the first of his friend who was also undergoing penance, refused. All the five refused. And when she came to Buddha, he said, come on, give me. I have to understand the journey of self discovery that keeps me in the state of calm and peace. And after a few days, the great master Alar Kalam was passing by. He saw that now he is a qualified seeker. He fulfills all the condition. So what happened? Alar Kalam asked him to sit under a Bodhi tree. He was fulfilling all the conditions. And he got awakened. So that is what the first chapter of the Patanjali is presenting. Yoga is mindfulness that succeeds only in two subjective states of the mind. So here the Patanjali takes us little deeper as explained by our master Vyasa. So what Vyasa says, there are five subjective states. Wandering, obsession, or you can say crazy, lazy, obsessed mind, one-pointedness, and emptiness of the mind. So now Master Patanjali, according to Vyasa, says that the fourth state of the mind is one-pointedness. What did we mean by one-pointedness? You have a commitment for the goal of yoga. That is one-pointedness. One-pointedness here does not mean that you are making a tremendous effort to focus on one subject. And that commitment and a regularity comes from the sadhan chatushtaya. Again, see the link between all of them. So the fourth state of the mind and the fifth state of the mind, where yoga takes place. Yoga do not take place in the first three states of the mind. So it is very easy for us to recognize. I practiced meditation for 1 hour. 55 minutes, my mind was living in the first three states. Did I succeed in meditation? No. So, and if yes, then I only practiced meditation for 5 minutes out of 1 hour. Are you listening to me? Yes. Did the mind distract to some other's object? Yes. But it mind could retain on your listening to me even for fraction of a second. So it means the mind could live in that fourth state even for few seconds. Okay, so if it lives even for few seconds, that is also the state of samadhi. In that, just for 5 seconds, there was abundance of quality, there was an abundance of quantity. So Vyasa takes us much deeper than what appears Patanjali has written in the first four sutras. So what he says. Now a great revelation. We drive our car. Wandering mind does the driving. If we don't have a wandering mind, we cannot drive. Forget about driving. Paddle, brake, steering, rear view, front view, view on each side of the lane. The mind is constantly wandering. And that gives the wholeness of the driving. Now, this mind is wandering without any context. Patanjali is saying without any context, wandering mind is a crazy mind. So it means we have wandering state of the mind. We have two types: positive wandering, negative wandering. My mind is jumping from one word to the second, to the third, then creates a sentence, then it jumps into the other words, then creates a sentence. It is a wandering. But behind there is a one pointedness also. So, what we misunderstand that I have to control my mind from all the thoughts, and it becomes an obsession. An obsession leads to hallucination, and hallucination leads me to frustration on the path of yoga. No, no, my mind is too much distracted. Find out how it is distracted, what is the context, where it is doing. Then only we can understand whether it is a positive wandering state or it is a negative wandering state. I'm just giving you an example. So it means what Master Vyasa says in a commentary to these first four sutras, what he says, there are five subjective states of the mind. Samadhi means a kind of meditation is possible in all the five subjective states of the mind. But yoga happens only in the last two subjective states of the mind. So he is differentiating. Mindfulness is common even for a fraction of a second to our mind. That is why we drive safely. That is why we cook safely and tastily food. That is why we could wear the dress. We dress ourselves. That is why we can put a lot of stuff on the face, reorganize, looks beautiful. That is how we always move to enter into our house. It is because of that mindfulness. So it means what? It means mindfulness, a kind of mindfulness state, is available, possible, or present in the five subjective states of the mind. But all mindfulness is not yoga. Arizona is USA, right? But USA is not Arizona. We cannot confine USA to Arizona. We cannot condition USA to Arizona. So there are five kind of mindfulness state that takes place in all the five subjective states, but only yoga is possible only in the last two subjective states. And what the Vyasa says, what is yoga? Yoga samadhi. So here we have a clarity of understanding. Clarity of understanding. So there is another, I'm bringing another, the same topic, I'm bringing another context. What is sadhana of mindfulness or meditation? So one master clearly says sadhana follows two-pointed approach. First approach, what I don't need to do, that is known as nishedha. And what I do, what I have to do. Vidhi, nishedha. Vidhi means do like this. Nishedha means don't do this. So it means both vidhi and the nishedha, that becomes a discipline and education of yoga explained by Patanjali. Ath yoga nushashanam. Ath yoga. So I have given some reference. So that needs to be understood clearly. Do I need wandering mind in the transactional world? Yes, if it is organized. Do I need a wandering mind in the journey of meditation and mindfulness? No. So now, according to Vyasa, now the topic is the five subjective states of the mind. What is five subjective states of the mind? We already know chipta, wandering. Then we have mudha. Mudha means insane or something like mad. We will explain it. And the third one is vikshipta, a kind of an obsession. Fourth one is ekagra. Fifth is the niruddha. So you see vikshipta, chipt. So the literal meaning of the chipta is to throw out. So when the mind is thrown out, we can go further. When the mind is scattered in millions of directions in the world outside, on the object, on the person, on the time, and so on. A kind of absent minded, a kind of craziness, kind of claiming likes and dislikes, attachment and detachment, duality and a conflict, division and the confusion. That is the meaning of the chipta. So I have already explained there is in the chipta state, in the wandering state, mind is either in a positive wandering state or a negative wandering state. Positive wandering state, the mind is jumping, mind is reading a book, it is wandering. But its context and its movement is organized. So it is a positive wandering state. See that how easy it is to pick up and understand. So those people who have a wrong perception about wandering state, oh, I have understood wandering is distraction of the mind. So it means when so they go to one teacher and they see that yes, I could not completely shut off my mind. I hear those experiences when many people share. Come on, I have to find out where the mind was wandering. The mind was wandering in the instructions of given to you by the teacher. Well and good. The mind is already making its foundation on meditation. No need to worry about it. So, like this, we have to understand this chipta state. You cannot stop the mind forever. Patanjali Yoga clearly says, Eastern wisdom says no. The way the science says, mudha, forgetfulness, laziness, habitual. Uh, I think that the word mudha, mood, means foolish, infatuated, or you can say unwise, lacking good judgment, or I would say lack of a common sense. A mad is insane. Mind is fully working on the man. So it means when the mind is fully working on me, then only I lack a sense of good judgment. Then only there is a lack of common sense. It's a foolish talk, a lot of nonsense. At the same time, a mad is angry and wicked. But we have to understand complete mood state is sound sleep, steadiness of the body. So we have a positive state also. We don't pay right understanding, mind facing to the world by thinking about people, place, possession, and making wrong judgment is a negative mudha state. You are crazy. Okay, you are crazy. First, the person who said that you are crazy is crazy first, is living in a mudha state. Forget about others. Because it's a lack of common sense. Every person has an innate potential, has a common element of true nature. The mind is hypoactive and dictated by laziness and a wrong thinking and lethargies, a negative mudha state. So, gradually, what happens? That is why every master says that do I fulfill the conditions of sadhan chatushtaya? When I fulfill those conditions of sadhan chatushtaya, I can instantly realize positive mudha state in the positive negative mudha state. I think a couple of months before, the women told me it's a very bad morning. I did not respond to it. I waited. I looked into her eyes and I asked her again, is it really a bad morning? Lack of common sense, common judgment. The morning is neither bad or good. It is your mind that drives you, that makes you think whether the morning is good or bad. So, like this, we make thousands of statements. So, when you fulfill the conditions of sadhan chatushtaya, then only we can recognize positive mudha state and the positive negative mudha state. So the mind lives in five subjective states. First is Kshipta, the wandering. The second is Vikshipta. Now, Mudha, mood, foolish, lack of common sense. Common sense. When I say it's a bad morning, I lack a common sense. It's not a big deal, but I don't want to become aware. It's really a bad morning. So, a seeker, when you are a seeker, you live in those nine conditions explained to us. You have practiced a lot. You live in those conditions and you can instantly realize no, there is nothing about bad or good morning. Let the true nature express itself through the mind, create an auspicious moment. Every moment is auspicious to treat the path of the self discovery. We get rid of the mudha. The third state is known as vikshipta. Vikshipta, I can say it is a spatial way of distraction. I'm eating pasta, I like something else. So while eating, my mind is obsessed with some other stuff which I like. So I have an obsession there. Vikshipta also means a spatial way of throwing out. The mind throws itself out based on its liking or dislike. I will not talk to that guy. It's enough. I have made my promise to myself. So I have thrown outside in a different way. So, spatial distraction of the mind, if I say, where the mind alternates between good and bad, likes and dislikes, sin and virtue, between pain and the pleasure. Look at those people, who are going out into their stay home orders. They are crazy. So you see that? The mind is in a vikshipta state. Do we have a positive and negative? Yes. Let me be obsessed with inner peace and happiness. So when I'm obsessed with inner peace and happiness, then what is going to happen? My mind is totally withdrawn from all the objects, people, and the places in the world. The mind will not project happiness in anything and everything. It will not count on what I have and what I have not. See that. It's a positive. Positive, vikshipta. We need that. We are approaching nearer to a qualification. Scientists and researchers, they are totally in that state. They get obsessed with finding the solution of a coronavirus. There may be many scientists around the world. Total obsession. They are not concerned how many people go out while stay home order is there, how many people are dead. No, their main focus is to find a solution. Totally obsessed, day and night, not taking a rest. Positive wandering. Positive vikshipta state. Then comes ekagra state. There is a we have a six inner treasures, and the sixth inner treasure is samadhanam. So that samadhanam in the sadhan chatushtaya and ekagrata explained by Patanjali is more or less same. Ekagrata means a total commitment inside, seeking freedom. You are a perfect seeker from outside and committed inside. The mind is full of sato guna. What is the sato guna? You are seeking knowledge of the reality in the state of cheerfulness, in the state of calmness, in the state of six treasures of the mind. That is the ekagrata state. It is not focused. Once you reach to the state of ekagrata, it gives you a glimpse of what is the road ahead. Normally, when you reach to 100% fourth state of the mind, you realize you experience that state regularly, you cannot leave the journey. There is a self motivation, there is an inspiration. So these are the outer manifestations. But what Patanjali explains in the same chapter, that you start the real meditation or mindfulness practices that is characterized by four stages of the fourth state of the mind. Means what? The mind is living in the fourth state. You practice meditation. What is your experience? That experience tells you out of the four which state of mindfulness you are in. Vitarka vichar, ananda smita, sampragyat, anugamat. Four stages of mindfulness. That Patanjali will explain later. And the Niruddha state is simple, object-less state of the mind. Niruddha literally means in Sanskrit ceased, dissolved, vanished. You may say that. So when it is totally empty or objectless state, then what is left? Only the self. So the real self shines in the fifth state of the mind. What does that mean, shining? The sun is self luminous. What it means by the self luminous? The sun lights itself, herself, or himself, and the sun lights the world also. So, what is the real nature which is self luminous? The mind is empty. You have reached to the emptiness, the objectless state. There is no object. The self from behind the mind reflects into the self, and the mind says, wow, I don't need anything now. It is not only full of knowledge, peace, happiness, it is Ananda. Knowledge of the reality reveals. Patanjali explains, and other, I think Patanjali has also explained. Yeah, nirvikalpa, nirvikalp, objectless state. Savikalp, meditation with an object. The fourth state of the mind brings the four stages of the meditation with object. So, what is the beauty of the Patanjali? Patanjali says, don't worry if there is an object, provided that object, you have a clarity about that object. You don't have a wrong notion and perception about that object. So he explains the four stages in the fourth state and the last stage in. I think you already have this why mindfulness or meditation, knowledge of the self and suffering. Sa vidya ya vimuktaye, the first line, and the second point, sa vidya ya vimuktaye, tat karm yanna bandhai. Why I bring this verse here? It gives us a glimpse that what glimpse it gives? It gives us an understanding that actually highest meditation or mindfulness is an effortless natural state. Why? Now understand this verse. Tat karma yanna bandhai sa vidya ya vimuktai ayasaya param karma vidyanya shelpain punam. That is action which does not promote attachment. What is an action? That does not promote attachment. So I sit in meditation. Preparatory step is being comfortable. I move into the state of comfort. Did it create any attachment? No. Follow that step. One example. And any action that promotes attachment, not required in meditation. That is what Patanjali is saying. Even though meditation is an effortless and a natural state, and what is the knowledge? That is the knowledge which liberates you from the bondage. All other action is mere effort and hardship. All other knowledge is merely another skill in craftsmanship. So it means meditation is not a journey of craft, a skill set. Not at all. It is not a discipline of effort and hardship. So, what is the main point here? The knowledge. Knowledge of my true nature. So, knowledge of the true nature is revealed in the conditions of sadhan chatushtaya. Why many people fail? Because they did not create a proper condition of nine conditions. See that, look at it. Now let us move to the second sutra and be very clear about second sutra. Yogaschittavritti nirodha. Yog chitta vritti nirodha. Four words. So let us see what Vyasa says first. I have reproduced. The sutra defines what is yoga. Yoga is emptying the mind of its contents, because Patanjali did not say, what he did not say, empty all the contents of the mind is yoga. Therefore, yoga state is realized with content, means fourth state of the mind, and without the content, the fifth state of the mind. So there, the Vyasa is making things clear. You can still meditate. You can be into a meditative state with some content. What is that content? Aha, I experience inner peace. I know this peace is from within, independent of anything outside. So, peace is the content of the mind. Peace is also the content of the mind. The mind, in fact, possessed by three gunas: Sattva, Raja, Tama, the mental essence, which is indeed of the form of wisdom and illumination, being mixed with other two qualities of the gunas, becomes fond of power in the sense objects. The same Sato guna mixed through by tamas expresses ignorance, violence, passion, and weakness. The same Sato guna mixed with rajas tends towards power, position, arrogance, intense activity, and things of the world outside. Now, what exactly he is conveying? He is conveying that mind is living in Sato Guna, that is dominant. First thing to understand, uh, you can add it. Sato Guna is white in color. Rajoguna is in red color. Tamoguna is in black. Sato, Rajo, and Tamoguna, they cannot be completely removed. But there are hundreds of permutation and combination. So when Satoguna is almost 90%, Raju and Tamoguna are working under it. We need minimum activity, we need rest also, so Tamoguna is required. So what exactly he is explaining, that if the Satoguna is on the top, we are moving to the meditation. If the Satoguna is little bit dominated by the Rajoguna, then we have lot of fluctuations, not only in the mind but also in the body, and we have all kinds of crazy thoughts. And the third is the tamoguna, why we fall into sleep. The mind, we have yet to become a seeker, for not fulfilling all the nine conditions. So, should I stop meditating? No, continue the meditation, recognize these challenges. Then we can achieve success in meditation. So, what Vyasa says, when the Sato Guna is dominant, what happens? It is free from the hyperactivity and a hypoactivity. That mind in meditation moves within towards the real nature. In the conditions of viveka, in the conditions of dispassion, in the conditions of six inner treasures. Now see the commentary by, we will read it and then we will understand it. The Vachaspati made another commentary. The particular state of the mind in which mind reflects the self or true nature, the false nature have been restrained, is the state of yoga. Beautiful. And that applies to our modern understanding. We can have a rational understanding. I am father, son, daughter, mother, I am stressed and anxious. All these are labels. I am the director. In my presence, I become stressed as a label. I become father as a label. I act as a father. I act as a son. I act as a teacher. I act as a student. Electricity does not have a light, but electricity passing through the bulb gives the light. I am neither the doer or the enjoyer. I am simply the author and the director. I am simply present, deep inside, as my true nature. And that true nature expresses as a doer, as a father, as an enjoyer, as a writer, as a teacher, like electricity. This is the point Vachaspati is making. Such a beautiful way. What he says, the particular state of the mind in which mind reflects the self or the true nature, that is, the false nature, have been restrained to claim that this is real me. It's a little deeper. By regular study and understanding, it becomes clear. How I become the doer and enjoyer, why I give label to myself that I'm a teacher, I'm a student, I'm a father's son, because I don't know my true nature. But now I know my true nature. Now I know light in the bulb is coming from somewhere electricity. Is the electricity is light? No. Is the true nature is the doer and enjoyer? No. Why it should be a doer and enjoyer? It is simply present. It is my true nature. It is full of peace, happiness, love, and wisdom. It is in the presence of that body, breath, mind, intellect, ego are enabled to transact in the world as a doer, as an enjoyer, as a father, as a son, as a crazy guy, whatever you. So he gives a very deep sense of what Patanjali means by yogaschitta vritti nirodha. Now see that after have some clarity about the meaning of the second sutra, find out the popular meaning. Does these popular translation of the second sutra fit any way near to what Vyasa explained, what Vachaspati explained? The restraint of modifications of the mind stuff is yoga. Does it really qualify, come near to what Vyasa is explaining and what Patanjali means? The suppression of modifications of the mind is yoga. Suppression. Yoga is restraining the mind stuff from taking various forms. Yoga is the inhibition of modifications of the mind. Yoga is nirodha of the chitta. Yes, that is one definition coming to very close to. Yoga is the cessation of turning of thoughts. Yoga is the control of thought waves in the mind. No. So it is very important that Eastern wisdom has complete books, followed by structured, organized books like Yoga Sutra, which explains step by step the entire journey of yoga, has to be understood in the light of Eastern wisdom, not in the light of I cannot understand physics in the light of biology, even though some context is definitely linking together. But my focus is on the subject matter. So now going little deeper, as perhaps in the first chapter we covered what we covered, four words of yoga chitta vritti nirodha. What is yoga? Yoga is a means. Anupaya, chitta, the cause of the problem, hetu. We covered hetu, hanupaya. We covered what is suffering, cause of suffering, and means to end and suffering and absence of suffering. So now we are going little deeper. Yoga is defined as samadhi. The word yoga, according to the commentator Ved Vyasa, chitta means the mind, structurally one, has four functional aspects: mind and memory, intellect and ego. Chitta. So vrittis means contents of the mind, includes the thoughts and the feelings and the thought pattern and whatever is the content of the mind. Nirodha means emptiness or emptying or objectless state of the mind. So we have a clarity. Yoga is samadhi. According to Vyasa, it happens in the mind. When it happens in the mind, when the contents of the mind are gone out, we reach to an objectless state. How it happens? By the process of reaching to Nirodha. What is that process? Explained by Patanjali through different practices of meditation. Clear. So before we go deeper, before we go to the next sutra, it is good to know mind. When I am meets I am not, mind is created. Here you are. The moment I say you are different from me, I am, and you are, which I am not. Who knows this? The mind. So if the mind knows what is the object in the mind, you are an object in the mind. Who knows that you are here? So I, the mind divides into I in the intellect, and I say I am you. So how the mind is created? Between when two things comes in contact. What are those two things? I am. I am remains one. If it is real I am. Or even say I am remains one even if it is a wrong perception. And I am not are many. So in other way we explain when the matter comes in contact with the consciousness, the mind is created. Mind lives in cause and effect. The real nature is beyond cause and effect. But mind works in the field of cause and effect. So without going beyond the mind, beyond the cause and effect, I cannot find my true nature. But this mind is affected by the three gunas, sato, rajo, and tamo guna. So there is another way to say that the mind is created by three gunas. So, what is our goal? We should remember our goal. The science works in the field of mind. Science works in the field of what I am not. Eastern wisdom works in the field of what I am. So, our understanding, our definition, our reasoning should be in context of what I am, not what I am not. How do I explain in context of what I am not? There is a physiological, biochemical, neurological changes in the body in meditation. It is perfect, it is right. But what is our context? Physiological changes. Am I physiology? No, I'm not physiology. So the context, the moment you change the context, even if it is right, we are moving in a wrong direction. Those 9 steps of the sadhan chatushtaya do not allow the mind to move in any other direction. So now, Patanjali explains all about the mind. We have been understanding the mind is working on us, or we are working on the mind. We can only work on the mind in a meditative state. But it does not mean that let me wait for 5 years doing meditation. No, I can be in a meditative state here and now. Check if the mind is working on me. I can still stop mind working on me by viveka, by dispassion. So ultimately, when we try to understand deeply, so Patanjali is explaining the nature of the mind. Patanjali is explaining the 5 subjective and 5 objective states of the mind. Patanjali is explaining the cause of the mind. He is explaining the thought pattern, their classification. And then he says, what are the different means to end? What is not desired? What is not desired? Cause of any suffering. So, the more we understand, more we practice, more we reflect, better it is for us. A qualified seeker is commitment. He has made a commitment for his life. So, this first chapter is for those qualified seekers. Why mind is wandering and distracted? Why mind becomes agitated, greedy, strong likes and dislikes, obsessed? Why there is a sense of forgetfulness? Why? Because due to wrong perception and projecting happiness outside, the mind is constantly on the work to discover the permanent peace and happiness outside in the world, created by a wrong notion and the wrong perception, and by the vasanas. What are the vasanas? Past impressions from this current birth and from the previous. Why one wants to follow the path of yoga? Why one wants to be an engineer? Why one wants to be a doctor? Why one has a strong clinging to marry and to live a family life? We cannot give the reason in the mind, but we have a reason. It is coming from the past impression and the vasanas. So that is why this vasanas has its impact in the mind and our nature, our sankalpa, our karma, our action takes place in our life. What is the nature of the mind? That should be, we should hold on to this knowledge all the time. Mind default, by default, the natural state of the mind is full of peace, happiness, love, and wisdom. It is of dominant satoguna. Satoguna, knowledge and happiness. So when the mind is not happy, distracted, then it is dominated by the Raju and the Tamoguna. It is lethargic. It doesn't want to listen. It moves into anxiety, anger, greed. It is because the mind is living in unnatural state. We have to recognize, we have to understand, we have to bring the mind back to a natural state. And from the natural state to a meditative state is not a long journey. The long journey is to bring it back to the natural state. Now, I was talking, I think day before yesterday. One person listens from one ear, comes out through the second ear. What kind of a seeker? Here. Second, third seeker. He listens from both the ears. It goes into the heart, head. Contemplation and reflection continues. Clarity and conviction comes, and the doubt-free mind descends down into the heart. From the heart, it moves into an action. Commitment is there. You succeed. So that is what is. We have to shift the mind to its natural state. Now, our next topic is our mind changes due to two factors. So, what are the two factors? I think I have not mentioned, but the Vyasa mentions that the mind is flowing, mind is like a river, and that river mind flows in two directions. I think I covered that. So one direction is Shreyas, the other direction is Prayas. So we have to bring this mind back again and again to the path of the Shreyas. What is Shreyas? Common good for all. Wealth in the world outside does not change. But my mind says, I must grab as much as possible. So I'm not leaving the wealth for others. So that is the path of the prayers. One example. The other is path of the Shreyas means good, common for all. Not only what is right and good. So we have understood Shreyas is the path what is right and good. How do I know what is right and good? Follow the path of Viveka. How do I live what is path of the prayers? By the practice of dispassion. How to establish in the path of the Shreyas by the six treasures we have explained Samdam, Uparati, Titiksha, Shraddha, Samadhanam. We have to fulfill these conditions. In these conditions only, the mind starts running towards Shreyas. Now, another way to understand the problems and the suffering in our life is the permutation and combination of the three gunas. You have given me. My mind says it is a good topic to talk about these. Uh, Three gunas. The permutation and combination of these three gunas is the cause of the suffering. My friend, is the cause of the suffering. Briefly, we can explain it. How we explain it? Uh, how we can explain it? Satoguna, white in color. Knowledge and happiness are its attributes. Seeking knowledge for inner happiness. Rajoguna, red in color. Hyperactive, dynamic, even though hyperactive, dynamic, but running for happiness outside. I'm fully busy. Let me perform all these activities so that I'll be happy. In the end, I'm exhausted. I fall into sleep. I wake up again and I follow the same routine. Tamoguna, dark, lethargic, high, drink for happiness. Means I'm totally ignorant. I follow the wrong perception, wrong ideas, wrong thinking. What will happen if I go out, break the rule of social distancing? I don't want to listen. I don't want to understand. It is tamoguna. Tamoguna. Now, followed by what happens with sato, rajo, and the tamoguna. That is very, three words are used. Sankalpa. One meaning is intention, the other meaning is invocation. Sankalpa means you invoke the God presence before doing any meditation. That is also good. Third meaning applies here. Sankalpa. What is that Sankalpa? The third meaning. Oh, that home is looks very beautiful. So I give fuel to that beautiful house. For a couple of days, many thought pattern arises until it becomes a desire. That sankalpa is created by the permutation and combination of the three gunas. So that pattern, which is a strong like and dislike, which is taken for granted. Oh, that house is beautiful. That dress is beautiful. Very good. Very good. But question that much up to that level, it is good. You appreciated what is beautiful, what is good. So mind goes back. Oh, that is very good. Really good. So I created likes and dislikes. I want to possess it. That very idea of possessing that represents a happiness is the desire. So from sankalpa we move to kama, desire. From kama we move to karma, the action. That is what happens by the three gunas, and we are not aware. And then we try to rationalize. After all, I bought it. It is a necessity. It is required. That is one way to understand the interaction of the three gunas that causes one from one thought to millions of the thought pattern. That is why we say now the next topic is how to work on the mind. Instead, the mind continues to work on us. What did we understand from the previous different topics? Sato, Rajo, and Tamoguna. Sankalpa, the thought. Don't suppress the desire, but remove the root of the desire, that is Sankalpa. First learning. The root of desire in the mind Oh, but where the mind, how the mind is created? Oh, when there is a contact between matter and consciousness. The mind contains I am not, then only we can have a desire. Cut the root there in your mind. In the conditions of nine attributes of sadhan chatushtaya. See that you can do it here and now, but we have to do it regularly, regularly, regularly. Minimum for 3 months. So even by sama, pick up sama. I want something came up to my mind that's very important to understand. A beggar is begging, give me only $1, $1. Why? To have a food. What is the goal of the beggar? Hungry to have a food. But that became the far goal. Now the beggar is asking money. Money becomes a means to meet the end. Did you get it? Money becomes a means to meet the end. Sama, one of the six treasures, becomes the means to an end. Krishna says equanimity is yoga. Sama is also means equanimity. And there the Krishna says, forget about, is Shama one factor of sadhan chatushtaya? Krishna says, no, it is yoga. You see that. So the different masters explains with a different background. So Krishna, the originator of yoga, in the second chapter, he says, for one who is not in yoga, there is no intelligence, no organized right and pure thought for him without mindfulness or meditation. There is no place, and for the one who is not in peace, how can there be happiness? So here he is explaining yoga as a goal. Goal is what? Ananda. So how the Ananda can be attained? By peace. But how the peace can be attained? So he explains. By the regular practice of meditation. Na cha bhavayatah shantirisantasya kutah sukham. So now he gives the answer, another method, where he says, one who has completely left the sense perception, causing the excitement of the senses by their objects, his intelligence means applied viveka, sits firmly, founded in calm self knowledge. So, what he's saying. So, when I say be comfortable in any practice of meditation, what exactly I'm saying? Close your eyes. So, I follow the principle. I'm saying the root cause of crazy mind starts with perceiving of the objects of the world through the sense organ. So, being comfortable means what? I'm addressing to the sense organ, please now look inside. The sense organ cannot see inside. I'm changing the direction of the sense organ, even though it is one sided windows. So, that is how the great masters explain object outermost, sense organ. So leave the object, come to the sense organ, Leave the sense organ, come to the mind. Leave the mind, go to the intellect. Leave the intellect, find out, recognize the subtle I. Leave the I, find the real self. Find the real self. Yogaschittavritti nirodha. And now the third sutra. What happens when the highest meditation is attained? I think we will take it next time if you have questions. So it is better you can ask questions about this.
A while back, you were talking about ekagraha, the one pointedness, and then the nothingness, the null. That those are the final two of the five where meditation is actually obtained. The other three are meditation can be there, but you're not in meditation.
You are not in yoga.
You're not in yoga.
Yeah.
Thank you. So it sounds like ekagraha is an inward single pointedness, where dharana, when we talk about the 8 limbs of yoga, is an outward single pointedness. Do I have that right? Is dharana then the similar to ekagraha?
Yes.
And dhyana would be similar to
The 4 stages of mindfulness
Mhm.
as a result of ekagrata, and samadhi is the ultimate.
Okay. So
So,
ekagraha and dharana are similar.
yes.
Dharana is not that external single focus. Okay, I'm just focusing on my breath or I'm focusing on a candle flame. It too is supposed to be inward pointed.
It is already inward pointed.
Okay.
So dharana and dhyan means the 4 stages of mindfulness as explained comes under ekagrata.
Okay.
And the final stage comes in samadhi. So you see that samadhanam, the 6th inner treasure of sadhan chatushtaya, samadhanam. So what is samadhanam? Samadhanam is also pointing to the samadhi. One meaning is samadhi. You see how they have reorganized, arranged. So Shraddha, now Samadhanam. Do I have love for meditation? For example, do I have love for a certain food? So why I love certain food? Because I give value to that food. Why I give value to that food? Because I like it. But why I like it? Because I have tasted it before, I possess it, I own it, and I want to own it again. Now replace the food with samadhi. I like to win samadhi. Now I give value to the samadhi. So the mind becomes more and more interested in samadhi. It is driving, oh, I want samadhi. The way you are driving, I like pasta. Someone says, I like a drink. So, what is happening? You are giving a value, the mind becomes more and more interested, and it becomes, so to say, one pointed. So, understand that ekagrata, literal translation is focused. No, it is not focused. You have given value to it. You have changed the direction of the mind. The mind has a commitment for samadhi, and now it is either it is thinking and acting and working. Oh, I have that value. It never forgets. That is the first way to understand what is ekagrata. Now, another way to ekagrata, that we keep a viveka in the mind. What is that viveka? Happiness is 100% outside. Mind, why you are driving me outside? I question instantly. The moment the mind is driving me outside, I question instantly. Hey, hold on, hold on. That is also known as ekagrata. That is also known as ekagrata. So, and the third one I have already explained, that it is also a state of being a qualified seeker.
Okay.
We'll cover the third and the fourth